Hi, great people. Good evening. What an amazing evening that God has given us. We have another chance where we usually meet, encourage, challenge. And at the end of the day, we make each one feel better. So I want to welcome you to our tonight's show. I hope you have had an amazing week since our last episode here. And I know you're keeping well and safe and blessed. So karibu sana. Let us know how, where you're getting us from, how is the video, how is the sound, even as we get to discuss nuggets that will always make us better to navigate the challenges of life, because that's the reason why we are here. The reason why we have the Well Show is build ourselves, is grow together, is navigate and become partners who are going to help us. I always love to refer to ourselves as partners of progress, that we are growing together to become better. Opening opening what we carry that God has put in our heart. So karibu sana. Let us know where you're watching us from. I know today's show will be amazing, will be great. And thank you so much for those people that took time to do the share. Last week's show was the best, had the greatest number of shares, and I know we keep growing every day, and also welcoming our new members who joined us last week. Thank you so much for getting all the way to Eldoret, and we don't take it for granted. Thank you, Sana, and God bless you. I want to welcome Maggie Mago. That is my my alumni back in Campo. God bless you, Maggie. Hope you're well and you're doing well. Borosa Romeo from Kimende. Thank you. I hope Kimende is a bit warm. Msifanye ile kitu. And Favor, thank you so much for the good job that you always do behind the scene. Thank you, Alice, all the way from Nakuru, my sister. God bless you. Thank you, Amboimboro, for always tuning in. Thank you, my brother John. God bless you, all the way from Nakuru. Thank you, my good brother from Muranga, Isaac. God bless you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Kindly keep tagging, keep sharing on your pages so that we can be able to reach as many people as possible. Remember, we said our principle is not to trend. Our principle is not become famous, but be able to reach as many hearts as we can, to reach as many souls as we can, to reach as many lives as we can. Because I believe if you have 100 people in your page, if you only get 3 and we are able to impact them positively, then you will become the agent of change. So karibu sana and thank you. Even as we get to discuss our topic, and I hope the video is okay, I hope the sound is okay. Let us just tell us the sound is okay, the video is okay, and I know we'll be blessed together. Thank you so much, even for your good message that you're encouraging us, and the good job that you are doing. Great. Now, tonight, our discussion, or a place of starting, or a place of encouraging, is a place of, and our topic is facing your fears, or facing my fears. And I know everybody at one point of life, me included, there are times that fears, come knocking, they get hold of us, and you feel like you're giving up. You feel like, this overwhelmed. You feel like you cannot make it. You feel like maybe it was not the right decision. And fear has always come. Fear has always gotten into our life, into our mind, and into our souls. And I know when I talk about such a topic, I know we can relate. These are not those topics that you'll be able to say, this is for selected few, this is for so and so. I know everybody. There are certain fears that you have. Even as I'm talking to ourselves tonight, there's some fears that we are going through. There are things you are facing and you're feeling like these are mountains. These are, you can't shake them. You feel like either you go back or you stagnate there, or you feel like I cannot move from where I am. And tonight I felt, starting from last week, and remember we were talking, walking away from anger and bitterness. And sometimes why we have not been able to navigate from our angers and fear and bitterness, or rather our angers and bitterness, is because of the fear, what most of us will call the fear of unknown. If I do this, what will happen? If I don't do this, what will happen? The fear of the unknown. And that's what we'll be looking tonight. And I want to start by saying this, that fear, it's an emotional, it's an emotional wiring. It's an emotional setup of our mind. It's an emotional setup of a psychological way of how we react together and interpret situations and circumstances. You know, when you get something and you're trying to interpret it, you either see it negative or positive. And fear, it's an emotion. I want to say to us that fear is an emotion. It's not a reality. Fear is not a reality. And I'll tell you this, fear most of the time lives within, it lives within our minds. We get ourselves, it's like a blanket that covers the reality of how we're supposed to, to approach and attack things. And there's that cover that comes. That's what we're calling tonight fear. How do you uncover that cover, or rather that veil has always, we have always covered ourselves. And you will see, why do people face fear? Why do people sometimes they give in to fear instead of courage? Because the opposite of fear, it is confidence and courage. So if you're entertaining fear, then it means you don't have courage and you don't have confidence. I hope I'm clear that when we are going through a season of fear, what lacks is courage and confidence, and what comes in is that place of fear and defeat. So tonight, as we are talking about, facing your fears, I don't know what kind of fears you are facing tonight. I don't know whether it's fears of starting a new thing. I don't know whether it's a fear of dropping something. I don't know whether it's a fear of, going out there and start building something. I don't know what is that fear that you're going through. And people have different fears they are facing at a given time and a given period of time. What is that fear that you are dealing with? Because we have said time and again, you never deal with what you don't know. You'll never change what you don't know. You'll never adjust what you don't know. So the place of dealing with fear is, number one, knowing what kind of fear you're dealing with. And here I'm not talking about the fears, the phobia. We're not talking about, height phobia, water or blood or animal phobia. I know that those kind of phobias, but I'm not talking much about that fear. I'm talking about that fear that has always hampered our growth. That fear has always affected our progression. That fear has always shown us that we are not better. That fear that affects our system in terms of thinking patterns, in terms of doing, in terms of becoming the best. And you see, many other times, even you read the Bible, that we say, fear not, for I am with you. Because most of the times is when, fear will come in. And when fear comes in, there are three things that, are able to become evident. Every person who is going through a fear season, number one, they doubt themselves. You doubt yourself so much. Anytime you feel fear, the next thing that knocks your heart and your mind, it is doubt. And every time you start doubting yourself, it drains your energy. It drains you. You start doubting whether, did I get to the good career? Did I choose the right career? Did I choose the right partner? Did I choose the best business? You start doubting yourself. And when you doubt yourself for a long period of time, then the next thing that you're able to birth is stagnation. Every person who stagnated, they started by just having fear. And when you entertain fear, it holds you, you start doubting yourself. When you start doubting yourself, you start stagnating. You can't move. Actually, sometimes you even doubt whether your legs can walk. Even sometimes you doubt whether you still have brain. Even sometimes you're doubting, are my eyes seeing? It starts by covering yourself. And it takes the place when you lose being in touch with yourself. So when you're going through a season of fear, most of the time what will happen? Doubt will come in. When you experience doubt for long, then stagnation creeps in. Then number two, what fear gives you, it makes sure that it detaches you from the reality. You miss the reality. And that's the same thing that when you're talking about, the phobias, whether they're height phobia and the rest, fear, what will do, it will show you, if you try jump, even if it doesn't matter how big it is, you feel like, things are carrying you because that phobia, it's not a reality. So when you fear in life, then you remove the reality. You're not in touch with the reality. And the reality, do you know what it means? You're not you're not real to what you carry. And most of the time, it's a place when you don't feel how worth you are, how worth and important and valuable you are. Because when fear comes, you start doubting yourself, you're not in touch with the reality. Then when the reality is gone, what happens is you don't live according to your measures. You don't live according to your ability. So fear makes sure that it gets you in a prison. That there is no reality, there is no reality world in your life. There is nothing you can do. Sometimes when someone loses a job and they feel like, I can't look for another job because I'm going to lose it. Now the reality is, if you don't look for another job, what will happen? Now look at this. You start a business, and at some point the business dies, or the business collapses, and at one point you have to close it down. When you close one business down, there's that season when fear comes into your heart and tells you you're not meant in business. You don't have entrepreneurial skills. So what happened? Or how does fear comes into your heart and remove the reality? The reality is you have only failed once. It is only once that you have failed in that business, even if it's twice, and you're only 26, 27, 29, or 30, or 40. If you live according to the according to the Holy Bible, that means, or rather to the Bible, you're going to go up to 8 years. So you have another 40 years. And you need to understand this, that something came into my mind yesterday, that success and failure, both of them, they happen in the place of doing, in the scope of doing. There is no one who sits down and they succeed, and there is no one has ever failed for sitting down. So you can only experience failure and you can only experience success in the spheres of doing. So as you're doing, even if you fail, you need to internalize failure as not the end point. When you fail, it is not the end, it's not the verdict that you are not good in this area. It is only that you have learned a different way that thing could have not been done. You have learned, I need to go back to the drawing board. I need to go back in the planning schedule and see how I can do better. But fear, when it comes into your heart, when fear comes into your mind, my friend, I want to tell you, you'll doubt yourself, you'll miss the reality. And when you miss the reality, you start living a fake life. There is always darkness in your life, and you think that's how the world was created to be, but it's because you have entertained fear. You have entertained this kind of emotion that has put a veil into your brain, that have put a veil in your face, that you can never see something good in your life, that you cannot see yourself coming up again. You cannot see yourself doing that business again. You cannot see yourself doing that ministry again. You cannot do yourself doing that relationship again. It put a veil. And then what happened to failure? To fear? Fear comes to tell you that you're good for nothing. It comes to tell you can amount to nothing. And the worst place of fear most of the time, and the kind of fear I'm discussing tonight, is the fear that is within. So you're the person who putting a judgment on yourself. It's like a place when you hire a prosecutor. You take yourself to the court, you hire a judge for you, you sentence yourself, then you build a prison for yourself, then after building a prison, you employ prison wardens, then after you have employed, you make sure, you're putting yourself in a certain prison, in a certain corner. And that's what happened in fear. When you look at fear, most of the time, you realize that fear will always make sure that you're feeling negative about yourself. That anytime fear comes into your heart and into your mind, you feel there is no progress. There is a certain freedom that you have lost. Because you cannot entertain fear and have freedom. Anytime you exercise and you get yourself in fear, then I'm telling you, freedom packs and leave. And I have said time and again, and I want to quote this, that most of the time, devil will always remind us of our past. And he makes sure that he gets ourselves into that place of fearing to progress, so that we never master our future. The place of mastering our future is rising above your fears. I don't know what you have gone through in life. I don't know how many times you have failed, but I came to tell you, even if you fall today, please don't allow fear to get into your head that you cannot arise again. Remember, we said this, and this has been our motto this week: the power of a man is not standing, but rising up every time you fall. And fear will always make sure that you lose the reality of life. And you know what? If you take the word fear, and this is always take fear as an acronym, it is false evidence appearing real. It's make sure the same energy you could have used to do something positive, it is the same energy you're going to use doubting yourself. It is the same energy you're going to use, looking down upon yourself. The same energy you could have used to do something positive, it is the same energy fear will make sure that you have used to make sure that you don't progress. And let me even shock you. If fear comes into your life for a whole year, that one whole year, when you entertain fear and you don't deal with fear, you're going to waste a whole year. And the same year, you could have used the same year to do something positive. I hope I'm clear. I hope I'm talking to someone who has been going through the turmoils of fears, that you have fused in one area of your life to arise and say, I can be better than this. And tonight I want to tell you, everybody and everyone listening to me, we must make a personal decision and a commitment to ourselves. We are not going to entertain fear. Even if it knocks you down, please don't sleep for a whole month. Sleep for a day and wake up. Utilize the 29 days moving on and making progress. Now, how do you face your fear? Number one, I've said, you never change what you know. So accept what kind of fear you're going through. Accept it. Number two, when you have accepted it, have what you call the self-talk. And the self-talk is when you can negotiate with yourself. Sometimes I've said there are things we go through and no one who can listen to us. There are moments in life, there is no one is there for you. There is no one who can understand what you're going through. They cannot even feel the magnitude of what you're going through. And sometimes I've said, please create a safe place when you can have a self-talk to yourself. Tell yourself, do you know what, Sam? I cannot leave you here. I cannot live in this darkness of fear. Sam, you are more blessed. Sam, you are more, Sam, you can do this. Arise. There is a place when people encouragement is going to come through, because even sometimes they may not understand your fear. Have shared this with a lot of people. There are people, when you see them from the public, they look successful and they're right and they're doing well, but when they get into the closet, hell break loose. This person, after coming out of that suit, after coming out of that dress and out of that makeup, when they face the reality in their closet, there are people I know they can cry for a whole night. There are people who probably even sleeping is an issue. At that particular moment, there is no one to come and encourage you. They see you as a successful, as someone who have made it in life. But you're battling fear, battles within. And how to deal with this? Have me-time discussion. Call yourself a meeting. The reason why we call you the CEO of your life, because you have the power to sit down with yourself and start telling yourself, I know I'm going to put system and I'm going to put practical examples and I'm going to put practical activities that are going to help me to overcome this fear. You'll never walk when you have not had a discussion with the self. Remember, this is the same self that is going through their problem. Discuss that problem. Do self-evaluation and ask yourself, even if I was to entertain this fear, what am I going to lose? If I was to let this fear go, what am I going to gain? So you weigh, what am I going to lose and what am I going to gain? That place when you can have a conversation. And I always tell people, in the days when you're sober and you're normal and you're doing well, please prepare yourself for a worst day, because it's coming. And how do you prepare yourself for a worst day? Make sure that when you're saying, you're getting materials within you that will carry you those moments when you are down. When you are okay, read books. When you're okay, try to to write things. That's what I always tell people. Try to document something about your life. Then try to write something about your life that you can reflect and remember. At this particular day, I was able to overcome this, so I can still overcome it. I'm the same person who did this, so I can do it again. That when you have that conversation and then you encourage yourself and then hug yourself and then put after then you go to the that step of facing your fear. Start from small, what you call baby steps. Our biggest challenge is we want to make life in a day. My friend, you cannot be in a place for 10 years and you want to walk up like a snap of a finger. It is a journey that you walk. That small baby steps that you start dealing with. Those baby steps that I say, from today I want to work. If I be negative about myself, I'll make sure that during lunch, I'll have a moment with myself and I'm going to sit down for 10 minutes and I'm going to get something that is positive concerning my life. Just for 10 minutes. If you continuously do this, what happens is you started rubbing off that negativity, that fear you have been dealing with, and then you realize, oh, I can do this. If you can make baby step. All of us who are running today, we started by crawling. Even in overcoming some fears, you start by crawling. You start crawling. Then you get, after crawling, you become confident. Then you can start, walking through aids of other objects. And sooner than later, you realize that you can walk alone. That's a whole place of understanding how to navigate fear. That thing that you find like is a mountain, you just need to make baby step. That thing that you feel like it is weighing you down. You don't know what will happen tomorrow. Please don't be worried about tomorrow. Be worried on what you're doing today. Because there is no tomorrow if you mess today. Some of us are in that place of, I don't know how my family will be. And at a particular moment, you're in Form 3 and you're worried about your family. And the basis of that family is what you're doing today. I don't know what will happen when I have 10, when I'm 40 and you're 25. What are you doing at that 25? Those are the baby steps that you need to deal with. Remember, we have said, fear will always try to remove you from the reality. And when you move from the reality, is that place of dealing with the unknown. So, you want to come out of that fear? You want to walk away from that fear? You want to face that fear? Please, make baby steps in your life. That fear of, what if this happen? What if I lose my job? What if you lose your job? Then, if you don't attain fear, probably you end up becoming an employer, and you're going to employ people. Most of the times when fear comes, what if I lose this? Some of the greatest things, stories that we have had, some of the greatest men that have made in life, they were pushed to the wall. Let me tell you, until you're pushed in the water, you never know how to swim. There are things that you carry. Someone said in her status that you don't know how strong you are until you're left alone. Until you're left there alone. You don't know how strong you are until you are tried. I don't know how strong you are until fire come on your way. You'll never know how far you can run until you see a lion. Every time you freak and there is fear, there is an energy that comes. There's an energy that produces. Most of the time when there are fear, we produce the negative energy instead of seeing fear and transforming that negative energy to positive energy and do something. Because every time you're triggered, anytime you're freaked, there is an energy. That's why your body will become alert, because it develops fear. It's a defensive mechanism. That's a moment when you see something, you flick and there is an energy. And the android will tell you, either you run, either you climb a tree, or probably you start shaking. Whichever, it is a defense mechanism. So in life, when you have fear, remember it's a defensive mechanism that want to pull you down, and you can overcome it when you translate that energy into positive energy. That fear you have entertained, you just need to make baby steps. And eventually, you'll start moving on. Number 4, and very important, face your challenge head on. Face that problem, face that fear head on. Face it. The place of facing it, you don't live in a denial. Don't deny that I'm employed, I'm not. Don't deny you're not sick and you are. The first place of healing is accepting, and you have said that you face it on. When you keep fighting, you don't have fear towards this area, you never overcome it. And those people who have always had a fight, the inner battle, is because they are, When you realize you have these inner battles, the place of getting, the mental breakdown, the place when you're feeling so bitter and we're worn out, is a place when you realize there are things you have fought for so long, and the things that you needed to confront. There are things in life you need to confront. There are people, even some fear that has been brought by people, because there are people who has always be negative towards us. There are people who always talk negative towards us, that we cannot make it. And along the way, there is a kind of a fear system that we have created. And you need to confront these either through people or through situation and say, you know what? I think I can do better than this. I know I can arise above this. And eventually you realize that slowly you're starting becoming stronger. Slowly you're becoming better. Slowly you're becoming positive because you confronted it. Tonight, what is that fear? Face it head on. Is that loan? Is it that business you want to start and you have fear? Is that that thing, step that you want to do? Please face it tomorrow. Put system, and I know. Put plans, and I know you're going to be better. I hope I'm clear. Thank you. Lucy Chege, my neighbor, God bless you for coming in. Asante sana. Thank you, Esther, for coming in and telling us we are doing well. Thank you. Thank you, Samuel, for good job. Thank you, Patricia. God bless you. My father, my good brother, Simon, all the way from Agogoni. God bless you. And say hi to Mama and kids and the rest. Thank you, Mary Ritho. God bless you. Beth Karaoke, God bless you. Oh, my good friend from Baringo and Kitale. Oh, my good friend I can see from Eldoret and Titan, Mombasa. God bless you. Keep sharing, keep tagging friends, even as we continue sharpening one another in this life of building one another. So now, after you have walked out of this fear, how do you create a system in life? How do you create a system within you that you don't keep falling back into the same roller coaster of this fear? This time you're dealing with this fear, next time you're dealing with this fear, then another month you're dealing with this fear. You become like your life is full of fear. How do you get to build a system within you that allows you, that you're not in this roller coaster? And let me tell you, most of the time when you have negative energy in life, in your life, they drain you so much. When you have this episode of dealing 2 months with this, then after 2 months you're dealing with that, most of the time when you don't have stability in life, it drains you. It takes a lot of your psychological energy, a lot of your emotional, a lot of you feel like you're not stable. It takes a lot of your joy, a lot of your peace. So there is a need of making sure that I'm now in a line of building stability in life. There are things that you can do will help you better coming out and also facing life better. And number one, if you want to be on top of the game in this life, always approach life from an open-minded attitude. Don't have a fixated mind. Don't have a fixated mind, my brother, my sister. This life can change haywire. Learn that what if it doesn't come out the way I wanted? What will I do? You cannot approach life with only one strategy. That this is the only way that I know. My friend, when that one way that upate the bridge has been carried by water by the flood, you'll start crying. Literally. Make sure that you're approaching this life with an open-minded attitude. That I know I'm good at this, but I don't fear to try something else. Just in case. And that's what I tell people. Make sure you keep building yourself. That's why I started by saying personal development, it's one thing will help you to deal with your fears. Because you keep growing yourself. You keep increasing your capacity and ability to handle life. People who have a lesser ability and capacity, when life knocks them down, my friend, some are done. And coming up again, it takes them centuries. If you want to make sure that you still remain on top, make sure that most of the time, please don't have a one, answer to all your problems. It will not fit sometimes. It will not fit. So if you want to make sure that you're not in this roller coaster of instability or fears now, fears then, a good day you're one day you're okay, another day you're not okay, you need to get that place and realize, no, I need to sit down and tell my mind that I need to be very open approaching life. When it doesn't work with A, I have no problem, I can adjust, I can go to B. If B doesn't work, I can go to C. It helps you. Now, someone told me and asked me a question. I was giving this example. He said, what happened when one relationship doesn't work? Does it mean you have multiple? No, the point is that when that one relationship doesn't work, it is not, relationship don't come to define us. Relationship don't come to, actually relationship, they come to amplify what we carry. So when you get to one relationship that is not working, please pull back, sit down, ask yourself, what am I going to do that in the next relationship will be better and it's not going to drain me? Because you cannot say that I can't do without relationship. You can't do without. It's better do without rather than doing with and you're doing worse. So you need to approach life with an open-minded attitude. Number 2, please always learn to be on float. And what does I mean on float? Please don't be too stuck in one place. Don't be stuck, be stuck in one mind. Don't be stuck in one project. Be afloat. Sometimes it's good. Allow life toss you. It doesn't mean that you're not principled. It doesn't. There is a certain, what we would call the coping strategies with life. And what am I saying? The place when you realize that I'm above this water. So the water will always flow. When you're not afloat, what will happen? The water will carry you. But when you are afloat, it means when that season comes, it allows it to flow. So a season comes, you're not defined by situation and circumstances. You always know you are better than that. There are people who keep shifting and their goals and their life and their purpose based on what they're going through. You realize there's someone who's doing very well because they're dating. When that relationship probably gets, challenges, the same challenges affect every spheres of their life. There's someone who is doing very well because they have money. When the money packs and leave, everything else in their life, it becomes unstable because they are always, they are flowing with situations and circumstances. When I talk about being afloat, is a place when you can allow situations, as they are changing, you remaining you as self. The place of floating is letting the water flow, is letting the season flow. You remain intact and know after this water has gone, another good water is coming. Another season which is better than this one, it is coming. But I cannot allow myself to go with a worst season, and I know very well after a bad season, a good season is coming. After a darker season, a lighter season is coming. Please don't go with season. Be at a float. Be afloat. You flow with things. People might think like you don't think. People might think like you don't have plan. But let me tell you, people will always have opinions. People will always have idea of who you are. But you know what? You're the best version about your life. I've said and I want to tell you this. Most of the time, you're so much concerned about how people will say, what they will say, when they will say, how they will say it. They will continue saying. Even in your burial, even in my body, they will come and they will talk. But you know what? At the end of the day, you have the right and you have the final word concerning your life. So as you're playing, this is a game you're playing with this life. You cannot allow the life to win. You have the ability to win this life because you carry the capacity and the ability to handle this life. Don't allow your fears carry you. I hope I'm clear. Number 3, and very important. This life, if you want to make it very easy, as you progress on, entertain people in life, or rather entertain people in your life who believes in you. Most of the time I have said this. There are people who have spoken negative towards our life and our destiny. There are people we have entertained for so long and they have shown us how we can't amount to anything. There are people, either siblings, either couples, either parents. There are people who have shown us how we cannot entertain. Let me tell you, garbage in, garbage out. What you keep listening to, what you keep watching, what you keep exposing yourself to, most of the time it molds the kind of a person you are. You can never separate yourself from the things that you watch and talk, the things you watch and think. You'll never separate yourself from your environment. If you're in a toxic environment, I'm telling you, you're going to be toxic. If you're fearful environment, believe you me, you'll be fearful of life. You'll never outgrow your environment. You'll never. As long as you're living in an intimidative environment, there is no fear you'll ever overcome. Because every time you're trying to arise, they will tell you, oh my friend, why are you wasting yourself? And it's just for 2 days, na hiyo kazi utafunga. There are people even, and I've said here, there are people who have gathered negative information to come and convince us how we can never make this life. My friend, if you continue entertaining those kind of people, it's better have one person who can sit in a place of 1 million rather than have 1 million people in your life who every time they see you amounting to nothing. You'll never grow beyond your environment. If you want to have stability, also make sure you're exposing yourself to a stable environment. You need to expose yourself to an environment that believes you are carrying greatness. Sometimes there are fears that we go through and we need people to push us. We need people to literally push us. You need people, you need to surround yourself with people like they allow you. You cannot settle below this. This is not your worth. Do you have those kind of people who tell you, wake up tomorrow, shower, take food, and wake up? You cannot be in the house for a whole month and saying that I'm going to stay here, because I lost a job, because this ended. No, you need people who tell you, no, we know your ability, we know your potential, you can do better than this. What kind of people do you have? What kind of people can you go to them and tell them, do you know what, guys, these are my fears? Are people who can hold your hands and tell you, do you know what, we are walking through this darkness with you. Are people who will, they will laugh off. There are people who tell you, oh my friend, we knew, by the tuko najua. You remember those people you're going to share and they're like, by the way, we saw this coming. Hii tulijua wezi, ulikuwa tu ni chocha. The moment the people that probably trust and they start showing you how negative you are, let me tell you, you'll never make it. Because they start bringing that what we started by, they start making you start doubting yourself. You start doubting that your strength and your ability. You need to understand that environment that you are in terms of what things that you watch. You cannot take your bundles and you're so much encouraged seeing, most of the sites and most of the things that entertains you are people who have lost in life. When you go to social media and look at these, you'd post a positive post, probably you're going to have 2 likes. But let me tell you, post something nasty, something negative, and I'm telling you, you're even going to find people tagging one another. I don't know what will happen, but God will have a solution, because we have a very toxic and a negative society. So if you don't work on building a better environment for yourself, when you'll come for people to encourage you and you have none, I'm telling you, fear will take over you. And you'll try to maneuver and you're going to make it. I pray that as you're sitting down and you're trying to see who are the people that I value in my life, do they believe in me? Can they stand with me in that moment when I'm feeling like a doubt? At that moment when I'm feeling I'm down, do I have people I can count to? That is very key. And the final part of making sure that you're stable and you can be able to maneuver and always be on top of fear, it is always put your expectations in a manageable level. Expectation is key in life. Some of us are expecting too much, and when it doesn't happen, we are negative, we feel like we are losers, we feel like we are nothing. Please, always making sure that put your expectation at a bar, and always understand that life is not lived without, it's lived from within. Even when you don't achieve that thing that you have targeted to achieve, please know things will never define you. You have put objectives, it is right. Me too, I have objectives. I have goals that I want to achieve, but those goals are not the ultimate definition of me. Actually, I always say this: when you're putting expectation at a bar, you're saying that I know myself, even if I don't achieve it, I'm still going to try again. Now, when most of the time when you don't put expectations at a manageable level, when we fail, we start having a negative attitude. We start doubting ourselves. Then what happens? Making the next step of becoming better, it becomes vague. It becomes hard for us because we always judge ourselves from what we did last. And most of the time when we fail, they say most of the time the bad news, it is the good news and takes the day. Anytime something wrong happens, you tend to remember it for long. But you need to understand that when you have expectation in levels that you can manage, you are saying that even if I don't achieve them, I will still going to try. But the moment when you let the expectation be above you, it means that the expectation will determine your attitude, will determine your mind, will determine your the next move, because it is the outcome that will determine. It's like you're letting your life be defined by products and not the manufacturer of the products. In a factory, there is no a day when a product will be bigger than the manufacturer, because the manufacturer has the patent idea, has the patent rights. You have the patent right of production. So even if you didn't produce as per the level, you can still go back there. You're the manufacturer. You have all the manufacturing rights. So you can alter some, you can change some, but don't allow yourself to be driven by product. Sometimes our product might not measure who we are because of external factors, because of the environment that we are going through, sometimes because of the inner factors we are going through. So whatever we produce was not the ultimate goal and the ultimate result that we wanted. But you know what? We can do better tomorrow. Are you putting expectations at bar? Because they will help you to navigate fear. And the last thing I want to mention, if you want to have a stable life in terms of dealing with fear, please always put a positive history about your life. Always see the achievements you have made. Sorry to say, but we have quite a number of people who are negative in life. If you tell them, please look at your life, what can you be proud in your life? And you realize a lot of people, they'll start counting on how they have failed. I have not done this. My age mates, they are doing this. My friend, we are not in a race. Run your race. Tonight, I know, and I want to stand here and encourage someone and tell you this. Everybody that is watching and hearing me, you have a reason to go to bed and sleep very well. And if you're not going to sleep, wake up and pray or worship God. Sometimes we have entertained negative minds that we have not seen even one good thing that we have done. If, my friends, there is nothing good you can see upon your life and about your life, please just see that you took yourself in a bathroom and you took a good shower. If there is nothing you can see good about your life, see your life that you made a bed and you lied on it and you slept. If you didn't sleep, you sat on it. There are people who have no that ability. Everybody, there is something you can touch positive about your life. If you have nothing positive about your life, let me remind you, you have two legs that they have been carrying you all through and they don't complain. If you can't see your two legs, you can see your two eyes. Some of us, we are so negative because there is a way either society has nurtured us through the expectation of the society, through the expectation of our friends, through the expectation of our family members, that this is where you should be at this particular time of life. But let me tell you, at the end of the day, you are living your own life. There is something positive. If you have one positive thing you can touch on, you can hold on, then I'm telling you, there is 100 negative things you can overcome. Go back to yourself. See that one thing that you can do. See that one thing that probably you did well and you succeeded and you felt nice, and start building your life on that. Life is built on the pillars of achievements. And my achievements might not be your achievements. Your achievements might not be my achievement. I celebrate you, celebrate me. But at the end of the day, after celebrating you, you can only motivate me. You can only become a beacon of hope. But at the end of the day, when you become, or I become a beacon of hope, I need to come and actualize things. And the place of getting a positive energy is seeing that I did something yesterday. Everybody who is listening to me tonight, you can never overcome a negative energy through a negative energy. You can never face something negative and then you want to react negatively. You must learn to weigh negativity with positive. The Bible says in 1 Peter chapter 4 and verses 8, which I love so much, love conquers a multitude of sin. There is that love, that, love is a positive energy that is able to, to weigh out negativity. My brother, my sister, tonight we have the ability to walk away from those fears that we have built for ourselves, that we have stagnated for long, that we have entertained for long. And the only thing we need to do is say, now I need to be more assertive, I need to be more positive, I need to believe in myself better, I need to tell myself I can do this, because from within you have everything that you need to make this life. You and I have everything that we need to make this life. Most of the time, we have always concentrated on what can't make. We have always concentrated on what is not working. And most of the time, we have failed to see that which is working. And I want to tell you this. Anytime you concentrate on what is working, what is not working, you'll never see opportunities in your life. Every time you wake up in the morning and there is this energy you are carrying, you never something productive coming out of you. And most of the time, fear will always be there, and you get to a place and you feel like you're good for nothing, and you'll end up feeling like, people hate me, I was not created to enjoy this life, I was not created to be loved, and that became the story. But you know what? That is not the point. That is not the point. You attract who you are. Start building yourself. You start getting different and like-minded people in your life. If you're a fearful person, you can only start attracting fearful people. So make sure you are bold. Face life with boldness. When Jesus was leaving his disciples, he told them this. And John chapter 16 and verses 32-33, which I love, that in this world you're going to have a lot of tribulation, but be of good cheer and courage, because I have overcome it, so shall you overcome it. When Joshua was taking over from Moses, when Moses died, Joshua 1:8, he was told, be courageous. And courage is it's the opposite of fear, because God knew that Joshua, you're going to meet a lot of battles, but you need to be of good courage. And the same thing I want to tell you, that let me tell you, my sister, my brother, be of good courage. Battles are coming. They're going to sell fear to you, but we don't sell fear. We know who we are. We are precious, we are priesthoods, we are a chosen generation. Overcoming is our DNA. That's who we are. It doesn't matter how many times you have failed. It doesn't matter how many times you have fallen. I want to tell you that false evidence that is appearing like it is the final verdict of your life, you're overcoming it. Believe in yourself. You're more than your situation. Thank you. Thank you, Anne, for coming in. Tabitha, God bless you. And Tabitha Nyokabi, thank you for coming in. God bless you. I need to be more positive. Oh, my friend, yes. You need to be positive and more positive, because life is about positivity. Life is about making intentionals, and becoming intentional in terms of how you want to navigate and how you want to make your life better. Our new member this evening is Dorcas. Dorcas, thank you. God bless you. And my good sister, Glado, all the way from Germany. God bless you, sis. Tupatane nyuma ya hema at least. Thank you for coming in, and God bless you. I appreciate everybody. You have really spoken to me tonight. Thanks so much. And more grace. True. Thank you. Thank you, Glado. True. That is positivity. Asanteni sana, guys. Keep dropping your comment there. keep dropping your message there. And thank you for those people who have taken their time. Thank you for Jane from Kirinyaga reaching out yesterday. God bless you. For all those people saying that this show is transforming their life. And that is what keeps us moving on. And we're trusting God that this show will always be better, will be always greater, because this is a well where we draw waters of life. So thank you so much. I don't know what is that fear you're facing tonight, but I want to tell you, you are better than that fear. You are blessed more than that fear. I want to tell you, don't allow that fear to sell you fear. Don't allow that fear to define you, because you carry more than that. From me to you people, thank you so much. I appreciate Sam Big for your production, the good job that you usually do. I'm looking forward to one of these days to be the, he'll be the host of this show, and then I'll be on the other side. And Ceci for the good job they're doing. Thank you, my team. I love you. And those people who keep encouraging me and, sending text, Baraka Sana, and God bless you. If you are blessed and you don't want to bless my team, you can always do that. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Until next week on Tuesday, when we're going to have the word and the worship. God bless you. Keep it locked. Shalom, shalom. Tunawapenda sana.